Good evening, everyone. I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I would also like to thank the Victorian Government for supporting this workshop. On behalf of the Indian Sun, I'm Indira Laisram, and it's a pleasure to welcome all of you to this online media training workshop. A big thank you to the Malayali Association of Victoria for making this session possible and for your warm collaboration. MAV is one of the oldest and most respected community organizations in Australia. From its humble beginnings in 1976, with just a handful of families, to now representing close to 3,000 members, MAV has come a long way. You have built not just an association, but a legacy, and next year's Golden Jubilee will be a proud milestone for everyone involved. Today's workshop is about harnessing the power of media to tell your stories more effectively. In a multicultural country like Australia, visibility matters. The work that MAV does in preserving culture, supporting community, and nurturing the next generation deserves to be seen, heard, and widely celebrated. This session will equip you with tools to amplify your message, connect with broader audiences, and confidently represent your community in media spaces, whether through interviews, press releases, or on social media. It is about being visible in ways that reflect your values, your achievements, and your vibrant identity. Once again, thank you all for being here, and thank you, MAV, for your vision and leadership. And I'm looking forward to an engaging session with you all. Let's begin with a very brief introduction from each of you. Please share your role and your names within MAV. Start with Madan. Unmute.
Hi, good evening, Indira and everyone. This is Madan Channapan. I am currently the president of the association.
Okay. Next, Vishwanathan.
I am Vishwanathan Hariharan. I am the General Secretary of Malayali Association of Victoria, and I'm with Mr. Mathanan for the last 2-3 years with the association.
Pratish.
Hi, I am Pratish Martin Jacob. I am the Public Relation Officer of Malayali Association of Victoria and Executive Committee member.
Amal.
Hi, I'm Amal Shashi. I'm an executive member and working with the sport coordinating committee as well.
Prakash.
Hi Indira, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Prakash. I'm the treasurer of Malayali Association of Victoria. Thank you.
Okay. Let's start. I'm going to give you some PowerPoint presentation, and I'll go through the slides with you. And if you have any questions along the way, please let me know. Okay.
Yep.
So can you all see the slide, and can you see me also in the screen somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not able to see you guys. You can see me also as I'm presenting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, basically, the workshop goals, this is to strengthen, multicultural engagement and representation, improve the quality and reach of your communications, equip your staff and volunteers and young people with media skills. And the last I've just put in there, this is actually for young volunteers, which today are not there, but it can sort of open pathways into media careers because it'll give them some tips as to how this whole profession works. And that's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So, what is media? Generally, when we talk about the media, it's newspapers and magazines, TV shows and movies, radio and podcasts, social media platforms, websites, and blogs. It is for everyone to learn how to tell stories that include different spaces, voices, and experiences. So, most of all, we learn how to share ideas that bring people together and make a difference. Why media matters in multicultural Victoria? I think it is a powerful tool for inclusion and visibility. Multicultural voices are often underrepresented, and media helps shape narrative, challenge stereotypes, and tell authentic stories. So when I talk about underrepresentation, I also mean this that in mainstream newspapers, you'd always find that there are not many stories about multicultural Australia or Indians for that matter, because and as the population grows, there's so many of us here, so much of stories to tell. But of course, in the space and constraints of news, and we often do not find that place. So what happens is the multicultural media is often a good source and often a good place to find that stories. And when I say challenge stereotypes, I mean to say that we have so many stories, so many resources within us, but most often times people only associate us with certain festivals or or food festivals or some cultural festivals. But then this the strength of the multicultural society in Victoria is that there are lots and lots of stories to be told. The journeys of migrants, old and new. There are many young professionals who are pursuing multiple careers who can in themselves provide a source of inspiration for others. So we can share those stories, and that is why media matters in multicultural Victoria, because we need to tell more of those stories. As more and more migrants come into Australia, more and more people, they need to find inspiration in the lived experiences of those who are already here. Yeah. And
Yep. Yep.
so stories matter. The reason why we say stories matter is because, when people read stories, they automatically, build that, sense of belonging, isn't it? Like, for instance, if I'm talking about, say, a migrant nurse from Kerala and another nurse who's already here reads her stories, that's automatically that connection is created, isn't it?
Mm.
I think somebody's thing is making a noise and echoing. No? I don't know whether it's my own, but that's all right anyway. And sorry, I just clicked on that. Okay, and we challenge stereotypes, as I already mentioned here. We are more than just food festivals. We have so many stories to share. And stories always inspire action and engagement. Many a times you would have experienced that certain stories have aroused anger or have aroused reactions that you wanted to share that story. Certain stories would have inspired you to make a donation. That's the power of stories. It inspires action in each of us. That is why we need to tell stories. We need to share our stories, and we stories also help raise awareness of important issues, and impact and showcase impact and create change. Like, for example, the Malayali MAV is going to celebrate its Golden Jubilee. I think that is a matter of great importance and interest to every other societies around here, other multicultural organizations, because I think, uh, like the BAV, the Bengali Association of Victoria, yours is one of the oldest. I know there are so many ways in which you can promote, the 50th years of your existence here. You can pitch your stories to mainstream media that we are a group from the southern part of India. We have lived here for 50 years, and this is our contribution to multicultural Australia. You can say that we have been celebrating Onam. Onam is a festival that brings people together. So this is just one of the examples that I'm talking. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And secondly, how do we identify a story? I mean, stories are everywhere. It is all around us. So we don't have to really, try hard to find where a story is. But I have just used the word spark here. When I say look for the spark, how do you find a story? How do you identify a story? How do you think what makes this a good story to write about and for people to share? It is you look for three things. You look for emotion, you look for change, and you look for conflict and tension. So, is what makes you angry? As I mentioned earlier, what makes you angry, hopeful, or curious? Here I put in an example: a volunteer's frustration with food waste, campaign for community fridge. These are the stories because it arouses emotion. Change, is it transforming? Is it something that is transformational? And what is the obstacle? So you look for inner stories, you look for these elements, and then you ask these questions: who's affected, why now, what are the stakes? So In identifying a story, there's something called, finding the doorway in. Just like you walk into a house, you have to find the door as to get into that house, because once you get into the house, there are plenty of stories. But how do you find that doorway? Which I explain in next slide. Okay, so I will come to that explanation of finding doorway in a bit later. But before that, I'll tell you what the next slide, which is stories that builds us. So as a community, as you know, um, multicultural organization, you have many stories within your organization, because you celebrate a lot of traditions and a lot of festivals. You have community events. I'm sure you have a lot of donation drives, support groups, and you shared achievements. Like, you know, when talk about an organization, I don't necessarily mean that you only have to talk about the milestones that an organization has achieved. But because you are an organization with so many members, I'm sure there are so many people among in your whole membership, who have like achieved so many things, isn't it? There would be so many members who would, somebody who is, for instance, an IT professional by day and an actor by night. Those are also the stories that you guys can highlight and talk about and share with the wider community. Yeah. So just coming back to finding the doorway in. So how do you find a door? And this is just a sort of an example which I've given, that you just have to find the door in, and inside the door is once you open the door, there are plenty of stories. So finding the doorway is like like a personal connection, like finding a personal connection, or when I say personal connection, I mean this, like uh, sometimes if there's for instance, a drive to sort of um, what do you call it, share food in a community that is poor, like say homeless family, you know, you have to take the there'll be numbers, there'll be statistics, and say, okay, 5 people there are going hungry, and we are doing this to give them food. But what you have to do is that you have to focus on the numbers, and and then you pick up an individual, and suppose that kid's name is John, or kid's name is Lena or Rita. You talk about the story of John, the story of Lena, who hides her school lunch leftovers to feed a little brother, or who's a part who has been benefited by a donation that that MAV has done for them. Just an example. So you find the human element, you find the personal connection in a story, and this is how what I mean when I say you find the doorway in, and then you look at the surprise of contrast. The challenge assumptions. So, for instance, surprise or contrast, challenge assumptions. This is in this category of stories. It'll be like supposing, a person who is a reformed alcoholic is now a local hero, because he holds communities, small groups of classes, telling people, some groups of people, about the bad sides of alcohol. So these are the kind of stories. So where, if you want to promote more stories about your organization, you can look for many of these. In fact, the PR team or the public relations organization of your organization can look for these many stories and publish that as part of MAV. Like certain member from MAV is doing this. So the more stories you publish on behalf of your organization, the more your organization is going to get noticed for the work that you do. So it's just not you celebrating cultures or teaching cultures, which is very good, but these other factors can also contribute to the body of work that you do, and all these things later on benefit in terms of finding grant, in terms of recognition for higher achievements. All these things are going to add up to your tally. You get my point?
Mhm.
I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah. Carry
Yeah.
on.
So exactly. So the elements, again, finding a story is people, purpose, impact. So I've given some example here. What kind of story? You look at people, migrant mothers sharing recipes, or migrant nurse being an inspirational story to others, her journey from, from Kerala to Melbourne. And purpose, purpose stories with purpose could be many. One could be, your celebration of Onam is a good story with purpose because you are preserving traditions, all of that. And then yeah, impact. When I say impact means stories with impact means what kind of impact does that story have? Or also stories like 200 plus women connecting through cooking classes. So there are 101 categories in which you can look for stories of find, but I just thought these were three basic examples that can sort of help you identify and find your story. Now, just for 2 minutes, if you can just break up and and just like I told you, people, purpose, impact. Can you just look within your organization and find out, what kind of stories you can think offhand to contribute? Just quickly, I won't waste much time. Based on what I said, purpose, people, and impact.
Yeah, no, the event we are conducting now, the Golden Jubilee Onam celebration. As I told you earlier, the Mega Tiruvadira, this is a group dance of nearly 200 women from across Melbourne. So that's a good initiative this year we have been doing for the Onam celebration.
Hmm.
So it's all 3-4 months hard work.
That in fact is a beautiful story to concentrate on. 200 women from across Melbourne are going to perform for this Golden Jubilee. So that itself is in a story. Now, who in your group is going to do that story?
Yeah, actually, that group you have to mention one thing, that it is beyond religion, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, it is beyond boundaries. It is not only Malayalis. There are Tamilians also participating. Telugu people are also participating.
Okay, so it is very multicultural in that
Very
sense. Isn't it?
multicultural.
Madan, can you,
secular also. Yeah.
Let's do a story on this. Madan, can you put me through some women who are participants? Not all.
Yeah,
These
it's
5
okay.
key women.
Yeah,
And I want a picture, and I will write about them.
Yeah, Prakash, Padma is there. Padma.
Yeah.
She's
Leo
over there, but I
also
need to check
joined
with
in.
her. Yeah.
Actually,
Leo
Prakash's wife Padma is mainly coordinating the Tiruvadira group dance now.
Okay. Yeah.
I think she can have some more say on this event.
Okay.
She's really 3-4 months. She has been after this event.
So
she's a very dedicated, team member of our Malayali Association Victoria.
Now, see, this is going to be one of the most beautiful stories coming out of your thing.
Yeah.
So, Prakash, after this session, I'll talk to you, and you can probably help me sort of coordinate with them. Yeah.
Maybe I can ask her now if she's.
Yeah, if she joined. No, I'll talk to her later because this will take some time.
Yeah.
So I can talk to her later, and we can sort of.
Sure. Yeah.
Can you, as I'm talking, can you guys see me on the screen as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, okay, Madan, Madan has given a good example. The 200 women who will be the spotlight of your festival is a great story to talk, because I'm sure nobody knows what this is about, and I am sure like it's a very interesting concept, and I'm sure it's going to be like really an exciting story to tell. The story
Another thing I would like to ask, another thing I would like to add this one. I think this one is one of the biggest dance happening in Victoria.
Okay.
Group dance.
Group dance. Yeah.
Okay, so this 200 women dancing is going to be one of the biggest, yeah, and it'll be quite a lot. Yeah, 200 is a big number.
Yeah.
See, this is one of the cultural art form from Kerala.
Yeah.
And there are other art forms also we are exhibiting. That is called, one is Autumn Tullal.
There's a traditional art form in Kerala.
It's an Autumn Tullal. It is, to express your ideas in a different form, in a funny way. It is
sarcastic, not the funny, the sarcastic way. Especially the social issues or some other relevant issues, they are explained to the audience in a sarcastic way.
Okay, so that they get it's a lesson, yeah, okay. Fantastic. That'll be a great story, and Madan, a great idea from you
Yeah.
to share, because I think this will be really nice to write about and talk about. Yeah.
And
So
one more
let's work
thing
on
that
it.
we are exhibiting Kalaripai too, the what do you call this?
The martial art form of
Martial
Kerala.
Kerala.
Yeah.
That is also being exhibited this year.
Okay, okay, on
Yeah.
the martial art form, okay, of
Yeah.
Kerala, okay. So we'll talk about the Onam because there are many elements. You don't have to talk about, just Onam as a festival. There are obviously many elements in your festival which you can talk about. So there
Yeah.
is purpose, there is impact, there is people. So we can, work on that. Yeah. So basically, some of the things that I was going to talk about is I've stopped the screen sharing. Is I was going to ask you, tell you about why press as an organization, why press releases are also important in writing. You'll have to. I'll just tell you one thing. One of the things, for your organization, Madan and everyone, communication is, your superpower. So you have to understand that just like every organization has a public relations team, I hope
Yeah.
you have a public relations team, which is,
Yeah.
which is your team, should build relationships with journalists, media houses, to secure
Yeah.
positive news coverage, so that if you have a press release or if you want to be interviewed, you build a relationship with them. You have a always make a list of all the media organizations, and then that way you can always keep yourself in contact with them, and that so that if there is any news regarding your organization, you give them and they publish it. So that is one of the tools for visibility and influence, so that it helps amplify key messages to a wider audience, so, and then you position yourself as a thought leader or expert voice. Because what happens is sometimes in in mainstream Australia, or sometimes if people want to know an expert opinion from if it's something relating to Indian community and they want the opinion of the Malayali Association of Victoria, if you are there in the the media
the main-
list, they will always get in touch with you and they will
Yeah.
always ask your opinion, and that way you position yourself as also a thought leader. Yeah.
You mean
Yeah,
to say
that's
that
true.
we should be in the mainstream?
Yes,
Yeah,
mainstream,
that's true. Yeah.
all
You're
kinds
right.
of.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so public relation, because every organization has a public relations team, and when big organizations have the money to build solid team, but it doesn't matter whether big or small, because at the end of the day, you have the same stories to share, isn't it? And within your organization, you can always pick, the person who's good in writing, the person who's good in taking photographs, and keep that ready. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why you need public relations is that supposing tomorrow, say the Age or the Herald Sun has written a story about the Malayalam organization from somewhere, or a man from Kerala, and has been misrepresented and has been misquoted, then what you do is you issue a statement to the Age under your MAV letterhead saying, we, the Malayalam organization, strongly object to this. This is a wrong portrayal of society, that kind of thing. Any kind of clarification, any kind of communication, you through your press release or through your statement, you issue to the news media. Okay. And when you issue public releases, always make sure that your letterhead and the contact person should always be there, so that if they want to contact you further, they can always contact you through that. Okay. And like for say, even for Onam, I'll give you an advice. Like yours is one of the biggest organizations. This is your 50th year. If somebody from your team can write a nice press release after the end of the celebration, and with some very good high resolution photos, and even submit to the Age or the Herald Sun, and with some quotes, I'll tell you how to write the press release and give it to them, they will be able to publish your story. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Indra, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you.
Yeah.
Can we get someone from this kind of publication to attend the Onam event?
Yes.
To
Yes.
like
Exactly.
maybe the media like telemedia, like 7 News or 9 News or
Yes.
something like that. So,
Exactly.
because this is one of the rarest group dance performance in
So,
Victoria. So,
yeah,
do you know anyone who you can recommend to us?
yeah. So I'll tell you this.
Yeah,
So what you have to do is, I'll give you the list of the people who you can contact.
yeah,
What you have to do is a practice session, very nice, short,
yeah,
and then you have in that press release, you have to mention the very key points, which I will tell you in this. You have to mention the key points. 200 women for the first time coming together, multicultural, to celebrate one of the longest or oldest dance, or whatever philosophical dance, whatever those words you can put according to the
yeah,
facts. And
yeah,
and we would like you to come and please do this coverage. And the MAV is one of the oldest, and this is one of our unique traditions. We would like your coverage. So you have to, but in that press release or invitation, also you have to give the key words. You have to tell them, oh, we are celebrating Onam 200. No, you have to highlight that why it is special, why 200 people from different backgrounds, how they're coming. So you have there is a way to put the wordings and invite them, because you have to uh, arouse the curiosity in them, and and to make sure that this is something unique. Okay, so everything depends on communication and how you communicate. Okay.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So, media formats, there are different types of media formats. We have news stories, feature stories, newsletter, digital, audio, podcast, all of that. But as a organization, do you guys, sort of work on newsletters? Do you share newsletters in your group? Because you have more than 3,000 members, isn't it? Do you share newsletters?
Newsletters in the sense the news media from outside, they
No, we
make
have
some
got a community
newsletters.
WhatsApp group. In that WhatsApp group, we share everything.
Okay, so everything is a WhatsApp group. So yeah,
And
nowadays nobody does
also,
it. Everything is
Indira,
a WhatsApp group, isn't it? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
yeah, Indira, the main forum is the
Yeah.
Facebook announcements. So newsletters are in form of Facebook post, and it's majority of the time it's written in Malayalam. And because the audience is Malayalis,
Mm.
and that's the reason that the majority of the time we are writing the post in the Facebook post, and it will be around the media in back in Kerala, where we are all coming from,
Mm.
and majority of the newspapers over there as well covering this. So
Mm.
this is something that we need to improve. I completely understand from you that we need to improve that. Even in when we are in Australia,
Mm.
you need to also issue the newsletters
Mm.
in the English
Yeah.
language and then spread it across.
Yeah.
So I think to answer you some of the questions, like do you have PRO? We do have a good PRO team.
Mm.
We do have a lot of professionals working with us.
Mm.
So we do have a very good team.
Mm. But I
Yeah,
think where your PR professionals are lacking is in keeping the context
that's
in the
correct. So
media
we don't
point.
have
Yeah,
No, you
experience
have
in
to
the
do that. Like for
Australian media.
instance, yeah, like for instance, I'm from the Indian Sun. You have to there's a paper called the Indian Link. There is SBS Malayalam. There is Channel 9. There is Age. You should have a list of all the content. And even within the Age, there'll be a local reporter. There'll be a cultural reporter. So you have to get the names and thing, always keep it so that anytime you have, like for instance, Onam and there's 200 people dancing, you shoot a mail. Look, invite them. And then even after that, even if they are not there, then after the event you send that story to them. This is how your stories get published and are noticed, because I feel
Yep,
this 200 women dancing actually is such a, yeah, beautiful, is such a unique thing. You should not let it be missed, apart from the few thousand people who are coming to attend there. This is the hundreds and thousands of people should know about it, and how good it is if people say that, oh, MAV has organized
yeah,
this, the importance
definitely
of,
agree.
isn't it? So publicity,
Mm,
if you want publicity, I mean, that is how it works.
yeah. That's
definitely,
true.
completely
That's
agree.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are
So
some news stories. So in press releases also there are a few things, like it's just not your festivals. Like for instance, that mother, when you sent me that MAV has a change of guard in new officials, that could have gone easily as a press release to the media outlets.
Yeah.
MAV, oldest organization, has a new committee, so that can go. Those so announcements like organizations crossing milestones, celebration of cultures. All these can go in the form of press releases.
So your press release means like what I did last time when
Yeah,
we had the new executive committee has
yeah,
been elected.
yeah, like that,
That
like
time
that.
I prepared one news for you. That's the same thing you are asking,
Yeah,
or
yes,
something
Dev. Yeah, but
different?
I sort of changed it a bit. That's okay, but that
Yeah,
was the format. That was fantastic. You give the most important news followed by,
yeah,
the lesser important news, that kind of thing. So, yes, I'll tell you how to work on press releases. But press release from your organization point of view, I feel press release is one of your biggest tool.
yeah.
Okay? So you always have to keep it.
Can you give any example for how to how this press release form? Any specific format for this one?
Yeah,
Or
format. Yeah. So, in a press
can you please advise on that kind of
yes.
press
So,
release?
yeah, so press release, I'll tell you what a press release is. Press release is a short formal announcement written by your organization, okay?
Yeah.
You send to journalists and media to share news or events. So, what are the elements that should be there in a press release? First,
Now,
your, huh?
yeah,
First,
now what we are doing, yeah,
huh?
sorry to interrupt. Now what we are doing,
Yeah,
we just make a news, just assuming that the
huh?
same news will be, uh, you know, telecast or telecast by this
Yeah, but
media.
that's fine. You can always use that same news. You can use on all your social media, Instagram, LinkedIn,
Yeah,
Twitter, Facebook, and then you can also send it to press because news is not restricted to one outlet, isn't it? So if you want more publicity, that's how what you do. Send it all over because because uh, you don't want your news to be just within your community. If it is something of importance like this 50 years and all, you want others also to write and celebrate about like
yep,
don't you want the age to write about this is an organization called MAV, it's 50 years in Australia. People also, other people also to learn about your story. So that is the reason why you spread yourself. You just don't write it for one audience. You write it for the multicultural audience. You get what I mean?
yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So when I say press release, okay, so it should have these few elements. First, you give a headline, clear and the newsworthy, and then you start with the most in the introduction. You start with the most important, like who, what, where, when, why. Those questions you ask. Then the body, you keep the key facts and the context. Then in the bottom, you always end with the contact information and who the media can follow up with, in order if they want to quote further, if you want to interview someone, okay? And
Yep.
use always simple direct language and always distribute it to all media channels, WhatsApp groups, uh, social media, all of that. And always where possible, always include photos, okay? Because I think photos always lend authenticity to the work, okay? So, so the press releases are just not restricted to just one thing, announcements and all that. They can be a lot of things. It can be, profiles also sometimes. It can be event highlights, milestone achievements, so, or responding to current issues, all of that. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so, and what resources you need is just people that there'll be writers or photographers within your groups. So you don't need and materials will be like, recording device or images. I'm sure budget will be good, free because everything will be voluntary. And you just have to have a list of the media, social media, newsletters, whoever possible to spread that
Yep.
news. And
Yep.
that is one of the thing. And when you write this press release, also just remember, like a story, it should that the most important part is your lead or the introduction. Okay, it should hook whoever's reading, and it should deliver the most important information on the top part. Okay, like for instance, I'll just give you an example. In a news, when you journalists, when we are taught that when we write news, in a news writing, uh, it is there is something called the pyramid, right? Pyramid is like this, na? but we call inverted pyramid. In news writing, it's inverted pyramid like that, huh? You know why they call it inverted pyramid? So, for instance, like say, if there is an accident, and there are so just think of this. If in an accident, God forbid, I'm just giving a very bad example, sorry, but what will you think? Supposing there are two trucks that collided on a highway, what do you think will be the most important information of that accident? The
Is
number
there
of
any,
casualties,
yeah,
the
anyone
number of dead.
dead or anyone,
Yeah,
yeah, how
and
many
injured.
injured,
So
like
you,
that?
yeah, so that's why you will always find newspaper headline saying 25 died and 13 injured in so and so. So that is the most important part of the news. So similarly, in a press release, you always start with the most important part of the news. Okay, so deliver the most crucial information in the first paragraph itself. Okay, then you put in other critical details next, second, point by point. Okay, so the most important information should be in your top. That is as far as the press
The
release is
policies.
concerned. Yeah. And also always use quotes. For example, say when Madan, you sent me that the MAV reorganization story. When you sent me that story, like, today the MAV has constituted so and so, so and so. Blah, blah. So in between that story, suppose you said Vishwanathan. Oh, Vishwanathan, what were you appointed as? Reappointed as?
General Secretary.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So if in that press release you said, I am very happy to be holding this position for the second time or for the first time, says Vishwanathan, that is called a quote. So when you write a
Okay.
press release, Leo, and when you write a press release, when you put those kind of information or quotes, first person quote, it lends authenticity. It makes your press releases strong, and it makes it, like people like the Age or anyone, if they see those quotes and if they see photos, they will immediately take it up. But if you just send a press release without just sketchy information, they will not pick it up. You understood?
So
Uh, so that is very important.
the
And then,
pictures also speak a lot.
huh?
Pictures also speak.
Yes, definitely. That is one of the most important thing. And
Mhm.
I'm just giving some headlines, for instance, like, I think for Leo and all this should be good, and, like, so bad headlines, good headlines. Like, you don't say like singers sing in Footscray or dancers, Malayali dancers performing in Onam. For instance, one of the things to pick their attention is like, you don't say 200 dancers performing in Onam. No, there are dancers performing in Onam. So you say 200 female dancers, form a multicultural touch in Onam celebration, something like that. So your highlight is the 200, your highlight is the multicultural, because it is just not Kerala, but from Tamil Nadu, everything. So that
Yep.
gives a very multicultural feel to your story. It gives a lot of strength, a lot of power to your story. Okay. So that is one of the examples. And then the other thing is the power of images in storytelling. We know that whenever you attach a photo, it is always very good. And the other thing which I want to tell you guys is that, building relationship with the media is very important. Okay. So, and always be timely. Don't waste your time. I mean, like supposing Onam has happened and then you send the story 10 days later. No, in today's age and time with social media, everybody is getting their news on social media instantly. Nobody is going to wait. So, timeliness is very important. Okay. Now, and engaging through social media, is very important. You're already on WhatsApp and Facebook group, right? So, what some of the tips that I can tell you is be very consistent, post regularly, use a lot of photos and videos, tag partners, use hashtags. Okay, these are some of the important um, tips. Okay, and social media is very important, especially because three times more people today engage on social media. It helps directly connect to the audience, and then it is more visible, more shareable, and the feedback that you get is in real time. Okay, so that is the power of social media. And always make sure that when you post a video or anything, you hook in the first 3 seconds. You use three very strong visuals. You use the right hashtags, and you insert link wherever is possible. Okay, So, and YouTube clips are also very, I think, important. Like for Madan, for instance, your organization is going to complete 50 years. If you do, a journey of the MAV in the last 50 years, it'll be, and you put it on YouTube, it'll be very good. It'll be there forever. It'll increase views with time. And, a lot of your children, grandchildren can watch. "Okay, this is the organization my father, grandfather started." Okay. And some of the tips with YouTube is that you use natural horizon frontal lights. You don't use shaky footage. Avoid, cut down the background noise. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is some of the tips that I'm giving you. And what else? And always make sure that when you are doing all these, that you take, like for example, when you're taking photos and putting up, make sure that you are taken asking the permission to use the images and all of that. That's very important, taking permission, because there's something called right to privacy. Sometimes people don't want their photos to use, isn't it? And now I want to tell you something about AI and chat GPT in storytelling, because a lot of people say that um, you know, uh, I got asked this question about the use of AI and Chat GPT. I think it's a good idea. We all use AI and Chat GPT, especially me. If I have to understand a science journal article, I put it in Chat GPT and say, please explain to me in very simple words. So I think Chat GPT is good in the sense that you should let it simplify you, or make some proofreading and all. But then AI cannot interview people. It cannot sit in a room or feel the silence. So people who write, that your job is to communicate voices. AI cannot do all of that. So at the end of the day, people are the one who build the connection and put the story. So you can't sit there and tell ChatGPT write a story and own them. So as people, you have to, your PR team and all of you have to get the feel of the occasion. They have to, sort of, they have to make people the source of their stories, and they have to ask questions. So AI, can be your friend in the newsroom, but not your replacement, as they say. So I think that's about it all. I've tried to shorten as much as I can.
Yep.
I think for me, the most important part of this interaction was telling you how to keep a list of media um, contact details with you, and make sure that you know how to write press releases, share the stories time on time, and get your information and your stories to the media and to the world, because visibility, publicity is very important in today's multicultural Australia, because it's such a rich country and we all share and learn from experiencing different cultures, isn't it? So that was what I intended to tell. But if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, it was so good. I just would like to how you are going to do this. Are you going to make any news out of this?
Yeah, I'm going to make a news out of this. I'll share you the link because I have to record as well for my. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation.